What's up, pagan people? Drew here, and as you can tell from the title of this video, that we're going to be discussing just my personal progress and what's happening in my path right now. I am kind of having a WTF moment in my path. Okay, so I'm actually not going to go into great detail about what's going on. I'm going to be kind of vague about it, and that is simply because I am not comfortable giving out all the details. And honestly, I don't know if it's appropriate. I don't know if I ever will be loud and proud about this whole thing on social media. I genuinely don't know. I am that way just in general. Like, I am very blunt, honest, straightforward, and just at ease sharing my story, my path, my experiences, my thoughts and ideas and beliefs up to now. But I have to admit that when I first went through what I refer to as my initiation, with all of the things that I was experiencing then, I only shared that with two people initially, my husband and my mother. And then as time went on, a couple more people came into the fold, and then there were other people that got bits and pieces of it in the periphery. And then after a time, I just became comfortable enough to be like, this is my truth. This is my experience. This is my path. This is my story. Take it, do with it what you will, believe it, don't. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't change the fact that this is my truth and I can stand fully in that and be in my power while doing so. I'm not there yet with this new part, and I don't know if I ever will be, honestly. I just don't, well, I think that there will come a time where I am in that place, but I still don't know. My allergies are killing me today, y'all, so please bear with me. I'll compare it to the way that I collect graveyard dirt. The way that I collect graveyard dirt is very specific. It is very ritualistic. You know, most people will say, you know, you need to leave an offering and, you know, you need to explain what you're doing and ask for permission. Yeah, okay, that's part of it, but there's more. There's definitely more than that. And I got this procedure, this ritual through a dream. And in the dream, I was led to believe by what was said to me that this comes from a past life, this knowledge that I had, because I was taken to the graveyard by a priestess. And I'm just looking at this woman like, what am I supposed to do now? And she said to me, you've done this already. You don't need anything from me. And then I went and did what I did. And I've always collected grave dirt that way. I had never collected graveyard dirt before that dream. I never thought that I would, even after the dream, but spirit leads where spirit leads. At any rate, I don't share that on my channel. I don't share that on social media. It's not that I won't tell people how I do it. It's just that I had sat down and decided I would make a video talking about it, and I immediately understood that that's not what I was supposed to do. It's not that that information isn't free for everyone. It's just not freely given in this format, if that makes sense. And I genuinely believe that that might hold true for this experience as well. I don't know yet, but it's still far too early for me to know what's going to happen with this. But I may or may not share the details on social media. I don't know. But I will at least share what I feel comfortable sharing and what I feel compelled to share. And honestly, if I feel that spirit is telling me I need to share it, even if I'm not comfortable sharing it, I will. So we'll just see what happens, basically. I am having a WTF moment in my path because my relationship with deity is changing. Now, I said this a while back. I said that I thought something like this was coming. I just kept feeling that something was coming, and it came. So first and foremost, rehash, I am pantheistic. My views are that spirit is in everything. Spirit is in this crystal, it's in this rock, spirit is in this candle, spirit is in me and you and angels and guides and deity and whatever. We're all from spirit. Spirit moves through everything. We are all aspects of spirit. Having said that, this crystal is different than other crystals. Even this rock is different than other rocks. You and I are different from one another in certain ways, and I hold the same true for deity. Deity is an aspect of spirit for me, but that doesn't mean that they aren't fully formed individuals that have their own ideas, thoughts, and wisdom to share. That's my own personal view on that. Maybe I'm soft polytheistic. I don't know. I don't go that deep with it, honestly. I don't need that many labels. I'm pantheistic. I leave it at that because for me, that's where it starts. That's the bigger picture. So I have encountered individual deity, and I have learned lessons for sure from individual deity. But my experience of personified deity to this point has been they flick in and flick out. They come in and they tell me what I need to know. They teach me what it is they need to teach me. They give me, typically it's like the mustard seed thing in Christianity, you know. They give me that seed, that spark, and that leads me where I need to go. And they don't really stay overly involved in the process at all, usually. They let me work it out myself. That's been my experience. And the vast majority of deity that has come to me have been masculine. That's just been my experience. I haven't had very many goddesses, only a couple, pop in and say, hey. And my personal path is pretty guide heavy. I have what I refer to as my main guide, which is, I believe, my higher I am, like my piece of my essence, you know, what have you. And then I have some guides who, you know, of course we're all one and we're all connected, but are still much more removed from me. So I have a healing guide, and I have the other guide that is really consistent. I don't even know what kind of guide he is. He's my no nonsense hard truths guide, I guess. So I have these 3 guides for sure. And then I have my spirit animal. And then other guides have popped in and out at various times, but these 4 are always with me. My spirit animal, my higher I am main guide, my healing guide, and my no nonsense hard truths guide. Now, in all honesty, they are more removed than these 2. These 2 I walk with all day, every day. These 2 pop in when they need to, but they're still mine, if that makes sense. Not that they aren't for other people too, but they're still very much an influence in a hard, fast presence in my life. So I have had the experience of having new guides come in, and I know what that feels like. And so over a year ago now, I noticed, for me, when a guide comes in, they're standing far away from me, watching me, observing me. And I've learned that this is sort of, they're gauging if it's time yet or not, or, you know, it's preliminary, whatever. Like, they're coming. Maybe it's them letting me become aware of their energy. I don't know, but I actually think it's multifold. There's a lot of things happening there, but they eventually come closer and closer until we interact. And so I started to experience this about a year ago, a little over a year ago. And I thought, oh, I'm going to get a new guide. Why am I getting a new guide? Because they always come in for different reasons. So that was really curious. But honestly, I kind of quickly forgot about it. And honestly, that's my experience of how it happens. Like, I become aware that they're there, and then there's a long enough time period between the time that they actually pop in to say hello, let's work together, and I become really interactive with them. There's such a long time period between those 2 events that I usually forget. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's not typically a year though. A little over a year. So toward the end of spring, early summer, I began to realize that there was a shift happening in my path and that something new was coming. And I did a ceremony, a ritual at midsummer to introduce myself formally to the spirits of the land. And I have my own ideas about what that is, but it's not relevant to this video. And open myself up to working with them more fully. And I say the spirits of the land, the spirits, just the spirits, and to see where that took me. And I started getting this idea that I needed to make a shrine. And in my brain, I'm like, oh, I'm going to make a shrine in the backyard. It's going to be like, I see a little Shinto type shrine for the spirits of the land in the backyard. And I'm sitting with that. But then, I don't know, I keep being drawn into these videos where people are talking about personified deity for some reason. And I start to realize something is there for me and that there's going to be something going on with deity. Honestly, not fully comfortable with that. Don't really know how to feel about it. Just kind of push it to the side. But I do have this uncomfortable understanding that something is coming. Then I think it was either the end of September or the beginning of October, I was inspired to make a moon altar by the lovely Trish over at BeanbagHagWag. She showed her moon altar and I thought it was lovely. I thought it was a great idea. I had a sort of love shrine / altar set up and I wanted to disassemble that and I wanted to do something else with that space. And so I decided to make it my moon altar. And so I'm setting up this moon altar and suddenly I'm like, oh, it's a goddess. A goddess is coming. And you guys could have knocked me over with a feather, honestly. I really would have expected it to be a god. Gods always come to me. I feel very comfortable with pagan god energy. Very drawn to pagan god energy. So to have this knowing, just this full, deep truth within me that a goddess is coming, I was shocked. Okay, but kind of excited. Fine. I began talking to another friend about this. That would be the lovely Erika from Raw Spirit. Erika is pretty adept, I would say very adept, in tarot. And she offered to help me figure out what was going on. And so we did some readings. And I would say this, if you want a reading and you've not had one from Erika of Raw Spirit, I highly recommend it. She is, she's lovely. She's lovely and she knows the cards and she is in alignment with, she can put herself in the space she needs to be in to get the message for you. Let's put it that way. We all have the ability to get into these spaces and to be intuitive, but some of us are much better practiced than others. And Erika's good at what she does. So she helped me do these readings and we got very clear indication. The reading it felt vague at first, but then we did some follow-up and we got the message and we got confirmation and it was very clear. It was there was no denying who this goddess was. And once again, I was flabbergasted. You could have knocked me over with a feather. I am obnoxious, and were I to choose my own goddess or god to work with, goddess. If I were to choose my own goddess, gods are different. I don't know why. I would have chosen a very obscure goddess that most people don't know about. The goddess that chose me is not obscure. I never would have chosen this goddess in a million years, ever. It just would not have occurred to me to do so. But honestly, I didn't know a lot about her. And upon finding out that she was coming to me, I started looking into her. That very night after the reading, I laid down and was about to go to bed and I reached out to her and spoke to her. And I spoke to her as if she didn't know what the hell was going on, because I figured if it's not her, not that she wouldn't know, but let me just talk to her as if, if this is you, this is what happened, here we go. And initially I didn't feel a response or anything. And then I was saying thank you. And I said it in English and then I said it in Japanese because I grew up in Japan and I don't know, that's just what came to me. And Japanese is not the language that this deity would be associated with at all. And so I laughed out loud at myself. I'm like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I don't know how to say thank you in her language. And there was an immediate, very strong response. And I felt her right here. Okay. I've never felt a goddess that close to me before, ever. And even gods don't usually get that close when they're working with me. When I say close, I mean like their energy is right on top of you. Like I've had guides be that way for sure, but I've never had angels. I've had angels be worse, but I've never had a deity be that close to me, be that much in my energy field. And her response was, it doesn't matter. And the energy and like I got a full feel of who this was, like her energy and how she presents. And she was beautiful. She was lovely. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So I changed the moon altar to a shrine to this goddess. I have begun researching about her and her culture. She is obviously outside my culture, as there are no goddesses within the American pantheon. There's no such thing. I mean, you can go to Native American, and while I have Native American ancestry, technically it's outside my culture. Like, everything is outside my culture. Christianity is the only thing inside my culture. Even though I would not have chosen this goddess, I am beyond grateful. It brought me to tears knowing that she chose me. After, I set up my shrine and I started having a daily devotional to this goddess. This is completely outside my area of expertise, experience, or comfort. This is not something that I ever imagined I would do in a million years. I don't worship per se, but I do greet her with reverence and respect and love. And I do make time for her every single day. I am, as I said, doing research and learning a lot. I can already see, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I can already see that her influence is going to change my magic, which is interesting to me. I got, I don't know, an intuitive hit, or she guided me to creating a perfume for her, a special perfume for her. It's gorgeous. And there's a healing salve that I need to make. And it's just a really unbelievable thing. And I know that for most of you watching, this is probably really like, duh, or normal. Like, it's like, yeah, duh. But for me, this is so bizarre. The whole thing is so bizarre. So, yeah, I am very newly, it hasn't even been a full month, I don't think, of this new experience of deity and a relationship with deity. I think she might be my matron. I don't know what that, I have no experience of that. I don't understand it. I'm just going with the flow, y'all. She came knocking and I'm answering. It's so weird. I don't even know. This is not a path. This is not a branch of my path that I would have chosen for myself at all, ever in a million years. And if I had, I would have chosen a god. But I am so grateful. She is, I don't have words for her. She's, how do you describe a goddess? She's just, I'm excited to see where this goes. It's a little difficult because where I feel I'm being guided is also in the exact opposite direction of me, of who I am. I'm a mystic. I'm very intuitive, and I'm being led elsewhere. Though I'm very much into sacred geometry and stuff like that. So I guess I do have some of the more intellectual, right way, wrong way kind of thinking in me. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just buckling up and going for the ride. I'm going to begin working with her more extensively in meditation and astral work. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I've only done one meditation with her thus far. All I can say is that this is in alignment with what I need to be doing right now. So part of the reason why I won't share is because there will be people who will try to get in my head and tell me that what I'm doing is wrong, for their own reasons, their own political views or cultural sensitivities or what have you, because obviously the goddess is outside of my culture. My culture is Christianity. That's my culture. So any deity that I work with, any path that I take outside of Christianity is going against my culture, is outside of my culture. So, but that's why I'm not really going to get into details, because this is my relationship with this goddess. This is my experience with this goddess. I did not ask for this in the first place, but I'm grateful for it, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. And I'm not going to let people who have absolutely nothing to do with my path and my experiences in this life dictate how I walk my path and what experiences I should be allowed to have. So That's all I'm really going to say about that. But that is a big chunk of the reason why I really won't get into details about who I'm working with and what's going on. Because she is obviously influencing me, and I do genuinely feel like things are going to change that I'm sure will be reflected. And as I said, there may come a time where I share everything, but everything is just so new, and just forgetting about any political or cultural things at all. Just the experience of a goddess coming to me and sort of presenting as a matron and developing this relationship with me is so foreign to me and so outside my comfort zone that I can't talk about it anyway, because it's bizarre, it's weird, it's uncomfortable, it's exciting and exhilarating and mind-boggling and all of the things. But yes, when I think about it, I sit back and I'm just like, WTF, Spirit. This is my relationship with Spirit. When I get comfortable, something happens to make me uncomfortable, to knock me out of my groove and cause me to grow and expand, or at least give me the opportunity, challenge me to grow and to change and to look at things differently and to continue to evolve on my spiritual path. So that's what's happening right now. So weird. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about it because I don't think there's a whole lot more that I could say. Thank you for giving me the space to talk about this and for being understanding of my need for some bit of anonymity in the whole thing. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. And this whole thing is just so strange to me. All right. Until next time, much love and gratitude.